Mike, got to talk to Phillies. Got to put on their hat for this. Get the right hat on now. Get the right perspective.
It's a good look for you.
2013, I'm looking forward already. We got to get away from looking back. This team has gone the wrong direction the last couple of years. Yes, 102 wins last year, but they keep getting knocked out of the playoffs soon. Now they don't even make it. 500 records are not going to cut it. What do you have as remedies to fix this team? Do you got anything?
Boy, I think you probably have more than I do. I think because they are locked into so many big contracts and because they are locked into some payroll and remember the Hunter Pence deal was supposedly to free up money and they do have some.
Yes,
but I think they're limited in what they can do. I think they have to hope that they get more from Cliff Lee and Roy Halladay and. I can't think of the kid's name. The starting pitcher that was
Kendrick.
No, the
Cole Hamels. Worley.
Rance Worley. Yeah, they have to. They have to hope that they're going to be able to do it with starting pitching and with some of their young people emerging. Their bullpen was really a problem this year, but I don't think that's something that if you spend a lot of money and spend a lot of resources to address that, you're going to weaken the rest of the ball club, and the bullpen is just this mercurial thing that goes up and down from year to year. So, I mean, I'm setting you up here, Starkey, because you have more of a plan than I do. Knock this one out of the park.
I have. I think there are at least 25 wins this year that were blown in the eighth inning. Maybe they had the lead, or the game was close and it got out of hand.
That's a big number, but I know what you're saying. Okay.
But there was a lot of them. Okay, enough that they could have made the playoffs.
Certainly.
You got to adjust that situation. What do you do? Well, I think you bring back Ryan Madsen. Was on a one-year deal with Cincinnati. Has Tommy John surgery. Had it in spring training, so he's going to be recovered. If it's not the very beginning of the year, he'll be there when you need him later on.
And he's not going to cost as much as he did years ago. This makes a lot of sense, Stark.
It's a quick, he can come cheap. He wants to rebuild his reputation, and he'll get a great shot. The one-year deal, all you need to bring him back on. Let's say you don't get him. Kyle Farnsworth had 25 saves last year for Tampa, the Rays. Was a setup guy this year. He's going to he could possibly be a setup guy again, or Brandon Lee or Grant Belfour. Experience at that eighth inning to set you up for the guy that you're paying all the money to in Papelbon.
Right.
And then the other bullpen guys can be those guys. Horst was great as a left-hander. They've got some guys down there that can do well. I like what I saw from Felipe Almonte in most cases. But guys like Josh Lindblom, terrible. And he came over in the Victorino deal.
But that's not an awful situation. I mean that's not going forward. There is potential to fix that without gutting the rest of the team.
And Mari Madsen could be a cheap fix actually and be phenomenal in that role.
Now, does he want to be a closer?
Yes, he does. But is he going to get that chance anywhere else? Come back and build your reputation, get yourself out there thrown again, and he can do it the following year. I'm looking at some other spots. Third base. What are you going to do there? Is it Kevin Youkilis? I don't think he's the greatest answer in the world.
No.
I think you're going to have to make a trade there, and it might be trading Cliff Lee. I think they almost did it last year at the waiver deadline with the Dodgers. Dodgers claimed him. I think what held that back was Cliff Lee had a no-trade clause, and that's why he's not a Dodger right now. He didn't want to go to Los Angeles. Will he go to Texas? Will he go to San Diego?
About that,
He could. That might give him the splash they need. They traded Hunter Pence to free up more money, they said. That also kept him under the tax penalty this year.
Yeah.
Next year, that goes up a little bit. They don't mind if they go over. The following year, it goes way up, and they're also in the new TV contract realm.
Yep.
So this team will spend at least for one player. Is it B.J. Upton to play center field? Maybe. B.J. Upton only batting about .232 right now, but he has 28 home runs, 78 RBIs, and 30 steals. Very similar to what Jason Worth did when he first was getting in here, getting in the mix. Okay. Mm-hmm. They need somebody to bat behind Ryan Howard in that fifth spot. Could it be Upton? Maybe. Could it be Nick Swisher? 20 home runs, 85 RBIs, 260 hitter, plays right field. I think somebody like that coming in here that's a nice, versatile player, can play some first base if Howard gets banged up again.
Well, these are all good ideas, Starkey. I think here's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to spend money in the outfield. I think they're going to I think they're going to get at least one and maybe two outfielders. I think in the infield, like it or not, I think they're going to move Chase Utley to third base and play Freddie Galvis at second base, and that's not a good. I don't know if that's. I think that makes you a little worse offensively and defensively. Maybe I don't know. I have a lot of belief in Chase Utley as a pro and as a guy who's, when he's healthy, is a championship caliber player. So we'll see. But I'm not saying what should happen. I'm saying I suspect that that's what's going to happen.
Two key words there. Three, I think. When he's healthy. He's not been healthy for a while. And I think he weakened two spots then because I don't think Galvis is a great hitter. I think some of his hitting he had this year that was any good was the steroids maybe helped. But Utley going to third, I think weakens. I think they're going to keep him there. Kevin Franson did a nice job at third base when he came up from the minors. And that's the other thing. He could be a great utility backup guy for you. And Eric Kratz, you've found out you've got a nice backup catcher.
Yeah, they have the pieces of a good bench, and they can get rid of a Wigington.
So I just don't know if Chase Utley at third base is your answer. He had a lot of errors when he did that before. We'll see. That could be a simple fix if they spend the money in the outfield. But Chad Quarles last year, Ty Winnington, Lance Nix, Ruben Morrow did not have very many good outfield moves. The only one, or any good free agent moves. The only one he really did was any good was Juan Pierre. And I maybe would bring back Juan Pierre again as your third, as a platoon role or a fourth outfielder.
I don't want him playing every day, but I know what you're saying.
No, but a veteran presence. It worked out well. He had 30 some steals. Coaching staff. One last point. Has to have some changes. If you bring back Charlie Manuel for the last year of his deal, fine. But how long does that the 08 World Championship stay with you? Jim Fregosi was a couple pitches away from being a world champion, and he was gone in 2 years. Now, if you're keeping Manuel, at least change some of the coaches. Greg Gross is giving you nothing out there. The outfield coaching, horrible. You've got to bring in somebody that's a better hitting coach, and a better fielding presence. Just change up the voices these players are hearing.
It's funny how nobody talks about that in baseball. People go nuts over the offensive coordinator and of their favorite NFL team. Nobody talks about this stuff. I think it's an underrated factor.
Change it up a little bit.